So we're going to talk about writing essays. Lots of people wanted to see or find out more information about how to write essays. So we're going to have a look at that this morning. Writing essays, the word limit is 220, 260 words. Okay, and in the exam, you will get 45 minutes to write an essay, and also 45 minutes to write the part two, and in part two you've got choices to make there. Okay, with regards to the word limit, I would suggest that you write towards the upper end of 260 words. Okay, don't worry too much if you're writing 270, 280, as long as you're answering the question. That is what they're looking for. If you start writing about things which are irrelevant to what you should be writing, well, this is where you would sort of have problems. Okay, so with the 45 minutes that you've got, you might want to think about having this sort of plan. Okay, so maybe 5 to 10 minutes here planning, putting together a sort of mind map of ideas. Perhaps that could take you sort of 5-10 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes actually writing. Okay, and then maybe here 5 minutes at the end checking. I think planning and checking are definitely worth doing. Okay, I think a lot of people rush quickly into writing essays and don't sort of plan well. And as they're writing the essay, they sort of get stuck and start to think, well, perhaps I should have written this, perhaps I should have written that. And all of a sudden they get problems. Plan first, write it, and then check. Okay, so we can have a quick look at an example essay here. And we can see here the question is this. Your class has watched the TV program on the reasons why many young people choose to live in cities. Okay, and the factors which might influence the young people are work, education, and culture. Okay, and at the bottom, it's what you're expected to do. Choose 2 of the factors and write about why these would influence young people to live in the city. So from the 3, you are only going to write 2. Okay, and as a conclusion, you need to identify which factor should be the most important. Okay, and give the reasons for your choice. Okay, so what is going to be the structure for the essay? Well, we need to have an introduction. Okay, and you might write 2 or 3 lines introducing the topic. Okay, the first paragraph, we're going to make a choice here. Let's say here, for example, work. Okay, and we write about why work will be important for young people in the idea of moving to a city. Why would that be important for them? The second paragraph, okay, let's choose here, for example, education. Okay, and you're going to write about why education would be important. And at the end, there's going to be a conclusion. So there should be 4 parts to your essay. Okay, introduction, first and second paragraph, conclusion. And the introduction and the conclusion will be sort of probably, I would imagine, 2 to 3 lines. But most of what you're going to write is going to be the first and the second paragraph. Okay, so in the introduction, what are we going to do? Well, you need to introduce the topic about what you're writing. In this case here, young people. Young people we could sort of understand as being sort of students, okay? And we're going to introduce this idea of young people, students moving to a city and talking about that. We might give some background to this particular topic. Perhaps there's been news items, perhaps there's been things written in the press. Okay, and perhaps at the end you might just say, well, look, in my essay, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to discuss these points. Okay, and there are some sentences that we could use here. I'm not going to read them, but you can go back and pause the video and read them yourself. But they might be sort of a way of sort of introducing your topic. Okay. Now, one of the things that's quite important that I see a lot when people are writing their essays is that they don't write a conclusion. Okay, and if you're not writing a conclusion, that means automatically you're going to score less points. Okay, so make sure whatever you do, you make a choice in the conclusion. And the other thing that's quite common is that people will write about all 3 points. Okay, when it actually only tells you to write about 2. Okay, so make sure you do those things. You're writing about 2 points and you're making a choice in the conclusion. Okay. Okay, we're going to also talk about today about how to write a paragraph. Okay, what is expected in a paragraph? And we're going to talk about topic sentences, okay, and explanations. And there is a very good acronym that you can find online, which is called appeal paragraph. And we're going to have a quick look at that. And in appeal paragraph, the acronym PEEL stands for these things here, okay? So the topic sentence, the first sentence, what is the point of the paragraph, okay? So the first sentence, it's usually quite a short sentence. It explains well what the paragraph will talk about, and this is our first sentence. The following sentences are explanations and evidence, okay, to support your sentence in the topic sentence, okay? And perhaps at the end, you might want to write something that links all of the sentences, the paragraph, back to the original question, okay? So in our question that we have here about young people moving to cities for these different reasons, we've got a paragraph that I've written that gives you an example of this PEEL paragraph, okay? And my green sentence here is my topic sentence, okay? The point. What is the point of my paragraph, okay? The yellow sentences give me explanations, provide evidence, etc. And at the end, the red sentence here just concludes the sentences and perhaps probably links back to the original question. So let's have a quick look and see what we've written. Likewise, the better level of education that is offered in important cities is an enormous appeal. There are many pupils and students who will be attracted to study in such places due to the wide variety of educational institutions, which almost certainly a greater range of courses to choose from. In addition, not only would they have the chance to receive well-taught classes by the finest teachers and lecturers, but have the opportunity after graduating to work in the most influential companies based in the city. Many of these advantages would unlikely to be present in provincial towns. And so moving to a city for a better education would seem logical for the young. So we've got a very sort of concise sort of sentence paragraph here. In the scoring for the writing, they're going to look at these 4 elements. Okay, we'll talk more about this in a minute. One of them is content. Have I answered the question? And would the reader be well informed? Okay. Communicative achievement. Have I written an essay? Is it in a format of an essay? Is the language neutral, semi-formal? Is the attention held easily? And have I expressed some complex ideas? Okay, so that would be communicative achievement. Organization, well, I've put in some connecting devices. I've used relative clauses and pronouns. I've used other such facilities as well that sort of connects everything together, okay? And I've got control of the language. These are the 4 different elements that they're going to look at, okay? Now, the next part we can talk about is exactly this, how they would score the essay itself. And Cambridge have written quite a good checklist that looks at these 4 different parts, okay? Content, okay? Have you done what you have to do? Okay, have you included all the information or have you done things which you shouldn't have done? Written about irrelevant or misinterpreted the topic, okay? Communicative achievement, again, have you written something appropriate? Is it in the right style? Or perhaps you haven't and it's too formal, or perhaps it's too informal, okay? Have you organized yourself properly? And has the language been used, and is it used accurately, okay? And Cambridge have put together quite a good sort of list of things that you should be checking. I'll provide links within the group, but it's something you should definitely be thinking about as you're writing, especially with content, because content really of the 4 different parts should be something that you will always get your 5 points. It's very simple to get the 5 points as long as you make sure you include all the right information. Communicative achievements, well, you've got to do a few other things. Organization, again, you need to think a little bit carefully about what's required here. And language here, a number of different things here. It's not just sort of grammar, it's the vocabulary. Have I written a particular word many times when I could have used something else? Okay, so all of these things need to be thought of, okay? And at the end, we can sort of talk a little bit about, well, the grammar that you might want to think about using. Second conditional sentences, you could quite easily think about. Cleft sentences as well, and negative inversion type sentences. You noticed here in my paragraph here, there was a negative inversion sentence here that was used, okay? So you might want to sort of think about sort of slightly more complex grammar that they are going to be expecting at this sort of level of English, okay?